If you're a real estate agent and you've been posting on YouTube, but your phone still isn't ringing, your inbox is quiet, and you're getting some views but with zero leads, then this video is for you. Because here's the truth. Your channel probably isn't failing, it's just missing the simple foundations. Today, I'm going to show you the 3 things that will make your YouTube channel actually convert into leads. And once you fix these 3 things, everything else will flow and get easier. So if you've been consistent, but your channel is still quiet, I'm going to show you the exact foundational framework you need, along with the top mistakes I see agents make again and again that keeps their YouTube channel from producing leads. Hi, I'm your hostess. My name is Sarah Newman, and I'm a realtor here in the Charleston, South Carolina market. YouTube completely transformed my real estate business. I have a video on the channel that outlines my entire journey and story of how I went from a new agent to one of the top 250 agents in my market of over 7,500 agents in just a couple of years due to YouTube. I've closed about $40 million in volume the last couple of years, the vast majority of which has come from YouTube. So if you want to hear the whole story, go back to one of the first videos I ever posted on my channel and you will find that there. But today I want to share with you what I've learned and help you create a thriving channel that brings you leads on autopilot. My mission with this YouTube channel is to help you grow a sustainable, authentic real estate business without burning out. So let's get into it. Now, this content is mostly geared for agents who already have a YouTube channel, but no real leads are coming from it. You feel like, I'm doing all of the things and it's not working. But if you don't have a YouTube channel yet, that's okay too. You'll still get value from this video and learn what not to do from day one. So think of this like a shortcut. You'll be on the fast track to knowing what kind of content to create from the very beginning. Now, if you're feeling skeptical about YouTube as a platform and wondering if YouTube can really work for you and if it's really better than other lead generation methods, then after this video, I want you to queue up on my channel next a video called 9 Reasons Why YouTube Should Be Your #1 Real Estate Lead Machine in 2026. Trust me, after you watch that, you will be convinced that YouTube is the way to go. Finally, I have a freebie that I created for you that specifically goes along with the exact content that I'm covering today in this video. It's called the YouTube Channel Reset Your 30-Day Makeover Plan. It's a completely free workbook for agents to fix your channel and fill your pipeline. It takes the concepts I'm sharing today and tells you how to apply this to your own channel and make the changes you need in order to improve. You can go to agentselevated.co/reset to download that completely for free. All right, so why is your channel quiet even if you're posting? Well, there's a difference between posting and having an actual strategy. The big gaps I see in agents' channels comes down to what I call the 3 C's. And this is where people tend to go wrong. The first C is clarity. This is all about positioning. The common mistake is not having a clear audience or niche. Your channel needs to clearly say who this is for and what area you serve. It's actually better to go deep and not wide. You need to create content for the exact audience that you want to attract. You need to figure out who your ideal client is and only care about them. There are a few components to this. So when I talk about going deep and not wide, there is a really common mistake that people make where they focus on just getting as many views as possible, which does not necessarily translate to getting leads. So for example, I live in Charleston, South Carolina, which has a lot of touristy aspects to it. So if I were to make a bunch of videos all about touristy things, like the best carriage ride companies in downtown Charleston, that's not reaching the person that I'm trying to attract. That's reaching somebody that is coming here for a quick visit. They're probably not interested in buying a home. If I made a video about all the top attractions to see in Charleston, again, that's not going to be valuable for me on this channel. So it might be a popular search topic and it might get you a lot of views, But this type of broad, generic content that gets you to go viral can actually hurt you because it's sending a message to YouTube about who your audience is, but that's really not your ideal audience. It's confusing the algorithm, and that is the last thing that you want to do. So the fix is to come up with content that your real leads, your real clients are going to be interested in, and stop caring about vanity metrics. I would much rather have a video get 1,000 views than 100,000 views if all 1,000 of those people were my ideal client versus the 100,000 that simply just wanted entertainment but were never actually going to reach out to me. So the lesson here is don't create broad, generic content just to go viral. Don't confuse the algorithm with random content that you think is going to be popular. Todd Boupro, who is YouTube's senior director, said, "The algorithm doesn't pay attention to videos. It pays attention to viewers. The algorithm's job is to match your content to the right viewer. So you want to create content for the exact audience that you want to attract. You want to talk about their pain points, their frequently asked questions. And don't gloss over topics. One piece of feedback I get again and again on my channel is how detailed I am. And if I'm talking about, let's say, a new construction community, for example, I'm actually sharing things like how much the HOA costs, what does the HOA cover, very detailed answers to people's questions. Because if someone's considering a move to that particular neighborhood, they want to know every single detail about it. And if you can provide that information for them, you are building the trust and becoming an authority in that person's eyes. Now, some people say that you should hold back content, that you don't want to reveal everything because then that person has no reason to reach out to you. And I personally do not subscribe to that concept. I think that if you just provide value from your heart and have an abundance mindset around it, that the right people are going to appreciate that so much. And at the end of the day, they still want a real estate agent. They're still going to reach out to you. And if you build that relationship, they're going to want to move forward with you. So know who your true audience is, understand what they want to know and what their questions are, and only care about serving them. This brings me to my next point about finding your niche. I don't personally think that just having your city is niche enough. So just having Charleston, South Carolina, or Austin, Texas, or whatever city you're in, and creating your channel as simply, moving to Austin, Texas. It's too broad. There's too much competition. So my recommendation is to niche down further and have a particular type of client that you are looking to serve. Maybe you're a veteran and you want to create content for military relocations and general veteran-inspired topics in your city. Maybe you're catering to first-time home buyers. Maybe if your market has a lot of water like Charleston, you want to be the boating, yachting, fishing, a deep water expert, and really talking about communities that have deep water docks and boating clubs and catering to that type of lifestyle. You could also focus on a specific suburb or neighborhood. So for example, here we have a town called Somerville that's about 45 minutes from downtown Charleston, and it's part of Charleston. It's really, for a lot of people, they use it synonymous with Charleston because it's just one of the suburbs, but really it's its own city. And you could have a channel just on Somerville and be the Somerville Queen. We also have a lot of islands here, so you could just pick one island if you want to dominate that market and share everything there is to know about that island, and then you will become known for that. And if you're just getting started and you don't know your niche, that's okay. When I got started, I didn't know mine either. Just start making content, and over time, your niche will reveal itself. So let me give you an example of how this worked out for me. One of my niches now is 55 plus active adult communities. I had no idea that that was going to become one of my areas of specialty when I got into real estate, but I really love it. And it all happened because of my YouTube channel. I made a video about 55 plus communities and an overview of the top 6 ones where you can build new construction. And very quickly that became my most popular video. It was the 14th video that I ever recorded on my channel. So I published it less than 2 months after I launched my channel back in the summer of 2023. And now it has 27,000 views and counting. It's the most popular video on my channel, and it's been really amazing. However, I made a major mistake when this all started to take off. So I saw that this was my most popular video, and that registered with me. I decided to make some more content on that topic, but I did not go far enough. I think over the last couple of years, up until this last summer, when I started to change some of my strategy, I had only made, I think it was 5 additional videos on this topic. So I made a video about a couple of floor plans in one of the communities that aren't featured on Model Row. There was a new 55 plus community that opened, so I did a video on that. So I did start to think, okay, this topic's popular, I should do more content like this, but I only did a handful of videos over the next couple of years, when instead I should have started to focus the majority of my content on that niche, because clearly it was really popular and it was working for me, and I had a lot of clients reaching out about it. So now over about the last 6 months or so, I've started to focus the majority of my content on this. Now I still have other content buckets, which I will outline in another video. I also focus on new construction, and then we do some what's called top of funnel videos that are a little bit more of a wide net to help more people find you, but they're still relevant to real estate. It's not that broad generic content like I was talking about earlier. And that's the majority of the content that you'll see on my channel now. So for example, as I started to go really all in and focusing the majority of my content on retirees, I started to make a bunch of videos for them that are somewhat similar, but all said a little bit differently. So for example, the number one mistake people make when retiring, the ultimate retirement guide. If I was retiring in Charleston, I'd retire here. The number one ranked place to retire in Charleston, the most affordable 55 plus communities, the best and worst 55 plus communities. So as you can see, the lesson here is to repeat, repeat, repeat. You need to create the same topics again and again and again, just in different forms. You will get so tired of hearing yourself talk about the same things again and again. And that's your sign that you know you are starting to talk about it enough. Because ultimately, you're the only one who knows about all 100 videos that you have. It could be the 20th time that you've said the same thing, but that video might just be the first one that a new prospect is finding, and it's the first time that they've heard it. So don't make my mistake and think, well, I already have a couple videos on this topic and I have nothing left to say, so I'm just gonna talk about something else. Don't think that a few videos on the same topic is too much or even enough. You want to create the same content in slightly different ways, again and again and again. You want to use some of the same keywords in your titles and descriptions so that you can rank and become known for that niche. Again, you want to let the algorithm learn who your content serves so it can put your content in front of that client. I really just can't stress how important all of this is. The second C is clickability. The question here is, what titles and thumbnails would actually make a viewer click? A lot of people have very weak titles and thumbnails. Now, when I first got started, I really thought that I needed to keyword stuff all of my titles and descriptions. For example, I tried to put living in Charleston SC in just about every title, in every description. I was geotagging everything, and it turns out that you don't really need to do that. So while yes, you're going to repeat the same content and keywords like I said earlier, you still want to be crystal clear when you're creating a video exactly what that video is and who it serves. And if you start to dilute it by just putting your city's name into everything, that's not exactly the right approach. And you don't want to take a bunch of different keywords and try to stuff them all into one title. I'll give you an example of that in just a minute. But there are some good rules of thumb for both titles and thumbnails that, what do you know, also all start with C. That's curiosity, clarity, and contrast. Okay, what do I mean by this? Let's talk titles first. The title should either invoke curiosity or just be a super clear, direct indicator of what the video is promising and delivering. The algorithm is just an audience. Each click is like a vote. Make the title relevant to the topic that you want to rank for. So an example of a title that invokes curiosity could be something like, "Don't move to Phoenix, Arizona unless you can handle these 7 facts." Someone's gonna go, "Oh, well, what are the 7 facts? I need to know what these are before I move," and they're going to want to click and watch that video. Or if you're making a market video update, you could make the title, "Something strange just happened in Phoenix, Arizona's housing market." Now, you don't want it to be clickbaity, so you actually want it to be something strange that happened, right? Maybe just something that's really out of the norm. So you want to deliver on the promise that you're making in the title. But again, that's curiosity invoking. Someone's like, "Well, what's the strange thing that happened? I really need to listen to this video because I want to buy a house this year, so I need to know what's going on and how this strange thing might impact me." Other examples of titles, if you just want to make them very clear, would be something like, "Top 5 Best New Construction Neighborhoods in Raleigh, North Carolina in 2026." Or, "A full tour of Raleigh's #1 suburb," in parentheses, Cary, North Carolina. Those titles are so clear, and the person who is researching Raleigh in this case knows exactly what they're going to get from that video and if it applies to them. Now, in the freebie that I mentioned earlier, I explain how to do some keyword research based on your niche. So you can reference that if you don't know what topics exactly to create content on. Again, the link for that is in the description below. Finally, before we move on to thumbnails, I want to show you a before and after example of a title that I had on my channel. And this was an example of what's called keyword stuffing, where I was trying to rank for too many things at once. So the title originally was "New Homes Near Charleston, South Carolina, Carnes Crossroads Walkable Neighborhood with Resort-Style Amenities." Now that's even a mouthful, just trying to spit that out on this video. And it's confusing the algorithm because while all of it's relevant, it's too much at once. Am I looking for somebody that wants new homes near Charleston? Am I trying to rank for this particular neighborhood called Carnes Crossroads? Am I looking for walkable neighborhood as the keyword term? Am I trying to rank for resort-style amenities? It's really just too muddled. So I simplified it months later, and now it's called "Inside the Best Community Near Charleston, South Carolina," and then Carnes Crossroads in parentheses. So superlatives like using the words best and worst work really well on YouTube. And people really like tours of neighborhoods. So if you use word "inside the best community," they know what they're going to get, which is an insider's look at this community. And then I did include the community's name on it because it is a very popular community that some people are specifically searching for. So I wanted to make sure that it was included and not keep it mysterious, so that, again, the right person who is searching can be matched up with the video. Okay, let's move on to thumbnails next. Here, I want to show you a screenshot of my channel from about a year ago when I was still getting some results from my channel. But since then, I've cleaned up the thumbnails and I'm getting better results. So when you look at this before page of my thumbnails, you'll see that a lot of them are really hard to read and you can't necessarily see what's going on. Remember, the thumbnail is like the size of a postage stamp if someone is scrolling on their phone. It's really small. So even if you have it blown up on your desktop and you can read everything, you have to imagine it shrunken down so far that it just needs to be so crisp and clear and high contrast enough so that someone can read it and make out what it is in 1 second. My recommendation is to hire out your thumbnails as well as your editing, of course. You don't want your thumbnails to look DIY. This is such an important part of the picture, and you don't want to waste your time designing thumbnails in Canva all day long. So now that you've seen the images of my thumbnails from before, let me show you a screenshot of some of my more recent thumbnails. You can see that they are much more simplified. They are clean, they're not busy. Once again, curiosity works really well here. So for example, ignored on purpose, someone is going to be curious about that. Or what just happened? That is an example of curiosity invoking. High contrast works really well on thumbnails. Again, you want it to jump out at somebody so that they can recognize instantly what's going on. So some of these split screens are working really well right now, like a before and after, or maybe the before looks dark and dismal and the after is bright and sunny and high contrast with primary colors. Or we did this one about why New Yorkers are fleeing to South Carolina, and we did the split screen on that too. It's pretty dramatic. You've got the fire and the darkness in New York, and then the beautiful Charleston, South Carolina on the other side. And we do all of this again so that there's instant recognizability of what this video is about and makes someone want to click it. If you're doing, for example, best and worst videos, again, the split screen thumbnail works great there, where you have the best on one side, the worst on the other side, and you have an X versus a check mark or a thumbs up versus a thumbs down. You're making it super clear what this video is. Another thing that was recommended to me to change up was around my face on the thumbnails. So of course you want to take photos of yourself that have those dramatic positions and faces. That hasn't changed. But I'm now working with a YouTube strategy team who also does my editing and my thumbnails and titles and everything. And what they've recommended to me is what I'm about to share with you. Now, they work with, it's at least 60 different agents across the United States. All they do is specialize in YouTube for real estate agents, and they have some top strategists that have worked on huge YouTube channels, including, yes, Mr. Beast. So when they tell me things, I really trust that they know what they're talking about. And when I started working with them last summer, I had been with my same editor from the beginning up until that time, and I absolutely loved them. And I actually still work with them on this channel, but I just felt like I needed some fresh energy on my YouTube channel because I had plateaued and I just wanted to shake things up a little bit. And they also helped me with some of the strategy. So coming up with the topics like I talked about earlier, they really encouraged me to go dive deeper into the retiree market, for example. So anyway, one of the things that they started to do with my thumbnails was adding this extra saturation and shading and depth. That's across the thumbnail, but also specifically on my face. Now, personally, I don't love the look of this. It adds dark lines and high contrast on my face, which, I mean, shout out to my other ladies out there. We really don't want that on our face because I don't think it's very flattering. But they are assuring me that this is what's working right now. They said the reason they do this tweak is to increase recognizability. Again, at thumbnail size, faces flatten out. So adding contrast and sharpening your features helps people instantly see that it's you. They said they've tested it, and so has every other top channel, again, including Mr. Beast. And it's not so much to change how you look, because that's what I was asking them about. I was like, I don't even know that this really looks like me. It looks like an AI version of me. But they said it's to make sure that viewers recognize you and that it makes them more likely to click. It's the same thing with these higher contrast colors like red and black, which are not my go-tos. They're not my brand colors. As you saw in my before thumbnails, I have a much softer, more feminine brand with pinks and neutrals, but they say that these high contrast colors just pull the eye better. So personally, at the end of the day, I just want my thumbnails to work and to get clicks. And if I have to use colors that I don't personally like or that aren't my brand colors to do that, then that's what I'm going to do. Okay, finally, let's move on to the third C, which is conversion. Do your videos clearly tell the viewer how to work with you? The common mistake here is giving no clear path from watching the video to turning that person into the lead, and not having a clear CTA or call to action. So what do you want the viewer to do? Do you want them to call you, text you, email you, set up a Zoom call, fill out a form on your website, download a freebie? Tell them. If you have a preferred method, tell them. They're still going to reach out via other avenues, but the more that you tell people what to do and how to do it, and even why it's beneficial for them to do it that way, then the more likely you are to get that result. So the fix here for conversion is to tell them what to do. Make it clear and simple. Try to give just one call to action at a time. So for example, here is a weak and confusing CTA. If you enjoyed this video, make sure that you like the video, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, Oh, and don't forget to download my free buyer guide and shoot me a text to get started. That's way too much information at once. Keep it clear and simple. A stronger CTA would be something more like, if you're within 3 to 12 months of moving to your city, go ahead and grab a free 30-minute call with me. The calendar link to schedule is in the description and comments below, so pick a time that works for you and we'll map out your move together. See how that's much more clean and clear? It says who it's for. If you're moving to this city in the next 3 to 12 months, someone can raise their hand for that. Then you tell them to grab a call with you, where the link is to schedule, and why it benefits them. You're going to help them map out their move. That's great. So if all of these tips that I'm sharing with you today have been helpful for you, I would love to hear from you in the comments. What's something that you've learned in this video that you're going to apply? Share your biggest takeaway below to really anchor that in. I'm so curious to know what your biggest aha moment was today. Now, another tip I have on CTAs is not to ask too early. You don't want to ask for a like or a subscribe or a reach out in the first 30 seconds of a video. You have to give value first and then ask. I was randomly looking for a video actually in my market of Charleston for a very particular neighborhood. And I happened to find a few other agents who had videos on that neighborhood. And literally in both of the videos, the agents right away, I think it was the first 15 to 20 seconds, started asking to reach out to them and to like the video, but I had gotten no value yet. It was the very beginning of the video. There was no relationship there yet. So you don't want to ask too early. You want to just start off, give the value, and then in return, you can ask for the viewer to do something. Okay, we're about to wrap up here. The last thing I want to say for now about conversion is that there's a next level strategy for calls to action that is beyond someone reaching out to you. And that is to get them into your orbit through something like a freebie. Think something like a downloadable relocation guide, or a buyer checklist, or a new construction guide. These can work well if somebody isn't quite ready to reach out to you. Maybe their timeline's a little bit further out, but they're still interested, they're still researching, they're eventually going to move to your area. But if you don't grab them with something and get them onto your email list, then there's a chance that they might get lost down the YouTube rabbit hole forever, and they might not find your channel again. But if you have an enticing offer and the viewer wants what you are offering, then there's a good chance that they're going to act on that smaller commitment of simply giving their email in exchange for that item versus already giving you a call or a text or setting up a consultation. So it's a much smaller ask. And then from there, you have their information and you get to continue to build that relationship. It's a great way to capture these more lukewarm leads versus hot leads. And it makes it more likely that you're going to stay in front of them. But the key here is that you need to follow up. For example, if you already have a buyer nurture series in place through your CRM, then great. They can go into that nurture series. They can start receiving those emails. Personally, on my team, we send out a newsletter every Thursday called the Charleston Insider. We have an event calendar of things coming up. We have local spotlights of different businesses, economic updates, just all kinds of things that are relevant to our sphere. And anyone who opts into any of our freebies get automatically put on that list and they start to receive that email every week. Our past clients love it because it keeps them up to date on the city that they live in, and the prospects love it because it gets them really excited about moving here, all the things that there are to do, and just overall getting a better feel for the area. Now, once you have their contact information, you can also choose to personally reach out to them with a personal email, or if you got their phone number, then with a call or a text. And don't ambush them, just say, thank you so much for, downloading XYZ freebie or for watching the YouTube channel, and ask how you can help. Sometimes people just need a little nudge, and you reaching out directly can be the thing that helps them get over that hump and in dialogue with you. Okay, again, I talk more about conversion and all of the 3 C's along with giving you action items in the freebie that I mentioned. So once again, if you want to download your workbook to help transform your YouTube channel, then go to agentselevated.co/reset. I really hope that you got value from this video. If so, I'd really appreciate it if you like it and subscribe to the channel. Maybe even share it with one of your friends in the industry who you think could benefit from this. Finally, if you're considering moving brokerages and you're curious about eXp Realty or eXp Commercial, I offer a no pressure confidential call to talk through the opportunity and see if it's a good fit for you. You can book a call on my calendar in the description below. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one.